Today I'm here with Jill Fininzio. She's a Maryland-based personal trainer, and she's also the founder of Ladies of Maxxfit. It's a company that helps women get stronger, more confident, and become more healthy. Jill's not just training clients, she's also running a business. She's building a brand, and she's navigating the industry that is constantly evolving. Jill, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely. So how long have you actually been running the Ladies of Maxxfit business?
So I've been running the Ladies of Maxxfit, I would say probably since 2020. I actually started out training with my brother, Chris, who has Maximum Fitness. And then I kind of just taped off, branded off of him because I started training women with him in his gym. So then I was like, how about the Ladies of Maxxfit? So I just kind of created that brand and popped off with that. I'd say probably around 2020 is when I really started putting the Ladies of Maxxfit out there.
Wow, you started a business at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. What was that like?
It was kind of difficult because we were really set in the gym and things were rocking and rolling, and then COVID hit. So basically what I did was just kind of take my business into my home and just created a gym in my basement. A lot of my women followed me. Of course, our clientele dropped, but I had about 5 or 6 clients that were coming to the house. And then we would, once things were a little clear after the first year, we slowly just kind of started bringing people back in the gym. And then unfortunately, we had to kind of close our doors for a little while and regroup for about a year and a half. But it was pretty tough. But I had loyal girls, loyal women that stuck with me and were dedicated to their fitness. We tried to do some stuff online, but kind of people were just kind of stuck in a, I guess, rut, if you will, not knowing what's going to happen. But it was a little tough, financially for people too. Nobody knew what the economy was going to do. But like I said, I had some girls that stuck it out. They stayed with me, and they powered through, and they are actually still with me to this day. So certainly appreciate them for that.
Nice. So you actually brought them into your home and you worked out.
Yeah.
What was the logistics like of bringing people into your home during the pandemic? Was there any hurdles that you had to go through at that point?
I would say, yeah, I lived in a older townhouse, so the ceilings were kind of low. So it was really just navigating and bringing the equipment in my house, um, you know, putting it all together, but also giving up my space to have this where it was kind of like a work-life balance where you really didn't have that because it's like I'm training people, I'm bringing it in and out of my house. And then it's just, I'm also the type of person I believe if you have, it's very important who's in my house and their energies and, just transferring of energies in and out of my house. I mean, keeping stuff clean, keeping stuff wiped down just because of COVID. I had some older patients, more mature adults that were in their late 70s coming through. So I had to be very careful with having certain people in my house and really would just train her on her own so that she wasn't kind of exposed to certain things. But I mean, it ended up being fine. But I would say the only struggle was just really getting the equipment in and then just dealing with certain clients and making sure things were kind of in a good condition for them. We couldn't bring all the equipment in, but we brought some stuff in and, we got the work done.
That's neat. And tell me more about the equipment. You literally brought gym equipment into your
Yeah, we
home?
had benches. I had a elliptical. I had a Cumberland bike. I had a Smith machine, believe it or not. I had somebody come in. I bought it, had someone come put it in because the ones that we had at the gym they were more industrial, so they were too big. And then I brought rubber flooring, brought that in. So just with the noise and so we could bounce balls. We made it work. I had two rooms. I had a bedroom that turned into more of the weight room, and then I had my bigger part of my basement that's more of the cardio area. So I still have my couch in there, but we were doing glute bridges off my couch. So,
Holy mackerel, you brought actual gym
yep.
equipment into your home. Um, wow,
I even had mirrors put up. Yeah, I'm sure I have some pictures somewhere to share. But yep, we brought it in, and we didn't know how. I mean, no one knew how long this was going to last. But I would say I did. It was a good year that I did the training out of the house.
you've been training for a number of years. Do you remember your very first
I
client?
do. Stephanie Green. Prior to me training, I actually did a figure competition in my 40s. So that's actually how I got into training. Um, One of my best friends was like, "Hey, I have a friend who's doing this fitness." She was like, "You should come." So we went, and I was like, "I'm going to do that." So I went to a bikini competition. I did a figure competition, went in the gym. I started training with my brother and one of his clients, Stephanie. She used to always kind of stay behind and work out with me. And then later she kind of transitioned over to me because my schedule was a little more flexible when she was working out my brother. So her and I would work out in the evening, and then one of her friends joined, and then one of her mother joined. And then from there on, we just kind of built onto the Ladies of Maxxfit. Honestly, that's kind of where it was created, with Stephanie training with me, her friend Amy, and then her mom, Jeannie, just kind of started latching on to me because, they saw the transformation I made with my body, and they're like, wait a minute, we want to train with her. She's a woman. So it just started there. And then other clients started building and coming in. I had other women. And soon after that, all my classes were women. But Stephanie was one of my first clients and such a huge supporter of me in my fitness journey as a trainer. Her and her mom always supported me no matter what. Like I said, even through the pandemic, whatever it was, they were like, we'll come over, or we'll come in. But she was there. Her and her mom were like team Ladies of Maxxfit. So certainly appreciate them and will never forget that.
Looking back at what you know now compared to what you knew back then, is there anything that you would go back in time if you could and say, hey, when you're working with her, do this, not that? Or would you do anything just different?
I would say what I would do differently would be probably obviously more promoting business wise, but also believe in the value of your services. As far as client base, I would say probably push people a little bit harder. And obviously I felt like I motivated people enough, but I think really allow people to push harder so they could see the value in, their fitness journey. And not let people give up so easy, not let people say, no, I can't make it. You can't drag a horse to water. You can lead them, but you can't make them drink the water. So, but I would say that just really allowing the clients to see the value in fitness. When we're at a certain age, our 20s or 30s, we're like, oh, we got plenty of time. And here I am, I'm 52, and I'm still working out and doing my thing, and my body is changing. And it's just like, you have to just really know the value of fitness and nutrition. So, I mean, that's the only thing I'd say it really would have done different starting off, was really promote that, like, nutrition, fitness, like this is just a value for you, especially as you get older, no matter how young you are.
When you were getting certified as a personal trainer, is there something that jumped out at you and you said, wow, that surprised me. I wouldn't have expected that.
So I wouldn't expect people to give up on fitness so easy. I know, I would say even for me, the gym membership was always the first thing to go. And now I feel like the gym membership should be the last thing to go. So I mean, I would say that's kind of the only thing that really jumped out on me, is how people just kind of like, oh, it's okay, I'll be all right. I'm thin, or I'm in good shape, or I'm in decent shape, and I don't have any health issues. It's not about getting in the game when you're sick or when you're overweight. It's maintaining your health and your fitness through your life cycle.
What, in your opinion, what's the hardest thing about running a business?
I would say clientele. Everything is based on a client. You can't control what someone's going to do. So it's just really keeping the clientele, but also it could be staying motivated. When you lose clients, it's not the end all be all. Like, you have to push harder and maybe go after a different audience in a sense, or, what's my niche? I know my personal niche is I work well with older adults. I love older adults. I volunteer for hospice and Alzheimer patients. That is my passion. So in the midst of me losing clients, I started volunteering, but I also focused a little bit more on the Ladies of Maxxfit and building my website out and saying, you know what, I really want to work with the more mature adult population. So I think with that is that, don't give up. You have to push. You can't build a business in a year and expect it to make millions of dollars. It takes a good 5 years to really build a solid company with dedication. And the fact that I work full time and still do this, so I just say, just keep pushing, keep moving, and don't give up. If that's your passion, that's something you want to do, you have to push forward and just keep moving.
What has been your best client generation strategy? Has it been social media, word of mouth?
I say word of mouth. When we were off of Red Branch, when I was working with my brother with MaxFit, it was word of mouth. I mean, I had friends bringing in friends in conjunction with Instagram. People saw me off of Instagram, but it was really more so word of mouth. You know, we just, the women that poured in and friendships and the support in the community really has made the Ladies of Maxxfit who it is. I have a good solid about 15 to 20 women that have stuck with me, and depending on situations, whether I've moved locations or they move, but they, no matter what they do, they come back to me, and they come back and we still hang out. We still have social gatherings. So I would just say pretty much word of mouth for me.
Do you do any virtual training these
I
days?
do not just private one-on-one training that I do. And then I joined with a gym in Maple Lawn in Fulton. And then I actually do some work at the Roger Carter Center in Ellicott City.
What do you think more trainers should know about running a business if they want to do what you do? Is there some piece of advice you would give them?
Don't overpromise and under deliver. The thing is, what I find is that you see all this stuff on social media and you think you're going to go in and train with the ladies of Max Fit, and in 30, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to be the size that you want to be, and you're going to be at your fitness level. And it's grace, like be patient, don't overpromise, you know, and really just communicate with the clients, give them actual reality. Like, you know, it's, I always tell my clients that come to me and say, hey, you know, I have a girl that I work with. She's like, Jill, I want to lose 100 pounds. Can you help me? I was like, I'll help you with the meal plan. And I said, we're not looking at 100 pounds. That's overwhelming to me for you to even tell me that. We're going to go with 1 to 2 pounds a week. And that's an easier conception to understand versus 100 pounds in a year, whatever your time frame is. So it's just basically just be honest with your clients. And reality is this, but we're going to take it one day at a time, one session at a time. You do the best you can do, use your skill set. This is what you're trained for, and really just provide them with accurate, factual feedback and progression week by week, month by month, and just be honest with them.
I agree. You also do something that I tell personal trainers to do a lot, and that is find your niche. Your niche is you work with women, which I
Mhm.
think is phenomenal. What are some things that personal trainers should understand when they're working with women? And
I would say one is keep it professional. Two is, as women, we want to work certain body parts. And, you know, our focus is always our bum, our legs, gut, you know, and that is, and not that male trainers don't see that, but, you know, to me, it's, I sometimes I do exercises that may be uncomfortable for women to do in a normal gym and be around guys. They may feel uncomfortable. It could be glute bridges, you know, it could be squats, and there's no wall behind you, you know, whatever it might be. But it's just make women feel comfortable in their environment. I would say I just think you have to be careful with your words that you choose when you're training a woman. You have to be very careful with the touch, how you touch a woman, and that's me thinking a safeguard as a trainer, as a male trainer, because a perception of something could be taken in the wrong way. Something you say, their perception could be different, vice versa. But it's just, you know, again, choose your words wisely, choose your touches wisely. Really listen to what the woman is, you know, accomplish. Don't push them. Some women are afraid of, if they lift weights, they're going to be, you know, muscle heads, and it's not true. But I, you know, I feel like sometimes some trainers, men or women, push people to lift heavier before it's their time. So it's kind of like just kind of slow and steady. Women want to feel safe in a gym. They want to feel comfortable. And I think that's just very important.
I think that's very wise. I don't think the gym industry overall has made a welcoming environment
Mhm.
for everyone. Some gyms I've seen are kind of intimidating for men and women.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, men or women, and sizes. You know, I've seen people walk in the gym and they may be heavier or smaller, and they just feel they don't feel welcome there. Like they don't want to be there.
By the way, since you were talking exercises, and you also touched on another topic about the whole spotting and cueing with male personal trainers, which I think is spot on,
Hmm.
pun intended, pun not intended, I should say. I've known personal trainers who don't even touch their clients because they don't even want to risk any
Right.
kind of liability or misunderstanding.
Yep.
So
And I think that's smart. You know, So, I
Yeah.
mean, I spot my women, but sometimes I don't either because I don't want someone to feel uncomfortable with a touch. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman,
Yeah.
a male, it's 100% professional, no matter what. We can joke around the gym, but I draw a line with certain things that are said, not said, no matter male or female, you just have to be careful.
Everybody has a video camera in their pocket
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you
Yep.
just got to watch it. And
And
that's
it's
why they,
not worth it. It really isn't. Like, I'm not here to get in any relationship with you. I am here to train you and getting you to where you want to be
right,
and keep it moving,
right.
you know?
I think sometimes we don't think too much about fitness professional, and the professional part of that name gets left out sometimes. And gym is, it's a casual environment and people dress casual, and I think that message sometimes, hey,
Mhm.
we're buddies. No, no, I'm your personal trainer and we are going to have a professional relationship. And I think we need to talk more
Exactly.
about that.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned exercise a minute ago, I have to ask you, what are your favorite exercises?
Leg exercise and abs. So my favorite. Ab core is my strongest. I love working the legs just because that's the body part that I love to work on. And I always see where it's my least easiest to transform. So legs and abs.
What's your least favorite exercises?
I would say chest and shoulders because I have a pinched nerve. So when I do shoulders, it's a mess going to sleep sometimes, like my neck, like I did shoulders today. So that just the shoulders is just more so because I have a pinched nerve, so it triggers some things sometimes.
For those trainers who are watching us, beyond the certification, the whole exercise science stuff, are there any skills that a personal trainer should cultivate that may help them thrive in the industry?
I think personality and being welcome and welcoming people and not judging. I think really it's personality wise. It's you're gonna interact with different personalities and might clash with people, but if you keep it professional and you keep it goal oriented for each, then you can be successful when bringing new clients on board. But really be passionate and have empathy for people. And don't always assume people are on the same level as you. Like I always tell everybody, I started just like you did, and you'll build up to that, maybe even stronger than me. That's the goal. But just really be passionate, empathetic with people, and give people grace.
Have you ever had to fire a client?
I have. Actually, I've had to fire two, and I'll give you two different instances. I had a client that was in my classes, and they were very negative and consistently talked about other clients of mine. And it got to a point where here I am a trainer, I'm professional, and I have somebody coming to me talking about my other client. And I, when I tell you she was a long term client, she actually transferred from my brother to me, but it just got to be a point where it was so negative and the energy was flowing onto me and just causing tension with me. So I just basically just had to tell her, like, look, you can have your own opinion on everybody else, but we are all here. We are here for the same goals. And I do not want any women in my gym that are going to talk about other women. We are a community, we are a team, and we are here for the same reason. And we are here, but to only build people up and build each other up. So I just kindly asked her, I said, I'm sorry. I just have to ask you, like, I can't have you here and train with us anymore. And she didn't take it lightly, and it was sad, but it had to be done. Another side of one-on-one training is I've had to just let people go because their inconsistency. You hired me to help you and push you, and you could never have the time. You never had the time to train. You never had the time to dedicate fitness and going after your goals. So it wasn't right for me to take your money for nothing because you're not showing up, and it's I'm not wasting your time, and then you wasting my time because if I give you a slot, then that's your slot. I'm giving up other people, but it's just the inconsistency. You want to train, but then it's like all of a sudden they don't have the time, and we all know you can make time. So it's just a matter of fitting that into your schedule. But yeah, I've done that with just the inconsistency, not showing up for training sessions and canceling, and being off for 2 weeks and then coming back, and it just can't do
Mm,
it. And as the years have gone by, I've learned to cut that off in the beginning versus later on, and which is fine. It's just, nope, this isn't, you're not ready, and it's okay. You can call me when you're ready, and we can carry on, and we'll move forward. Now, and I'll take you back, and we'll have a different conversation, as to, are you committed to this? What's your schedule going to be? Okay. And this is what we're going to do, right? So, absolutely. Two different instances, but yeah.
Yeah. It's a gutsy move. I've had to do it, I think, one time, but it's a topic that doesn't come up very much in the personal training world. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of personal trainers would be reluctant to do that. And I wanted to kind of just bring it up, to give them something to think about, that it's okay. And I like what you
Yeah.
said. Hey, you can come back when you're committed and we can have that conversation. But if you're not ready yet, okay, that's fine too.
Yep. And it's not about the money for me. I don't do this for the money. I really don't. I do it because I love it. I love working with my clients, and I love the way they feel. I love the feedback. I love seeing results. So if you're not going to commit like I am, then it's just not a good partnership.
It's a very good philosophy. And I love that fact that you said you love what you do. It's not about the money, it's about
Hmm.
making a difference. I think that's, again, a message I think a lot of people should hear. So you've been in the industry a long time, you've seen a lot of things come and go. Is there a trend in the fitness industry that you've seen that you think is overhyped?
I think fad diets. I mean, it is, you see these shots, you see the Ozempic, and I've trained people on them, and it's just, to me, proper nutrition and exercise. It's that simple. It really is. And I know that this might get some heat on it. It's women going through menopause, people that have, illnesses. I'm not really addressing those things. I get that people have some illnesses that may kind of hinder them from losing weight and things like that, and I support all that. But at the end of the day, if you take these shots, your nutrition has to be on point no matter what. That is what's in your plan. One of my friends said something to me yesterday, like, I'm tired of being on these diets. And I was like, you're not on a diet. You're on a lifestyle change. Diets end. Lifestyle changes don't end. It's just consistency.
Yeah.
So diet and exercise are the key. That's it. It is that simple. No matter what you do or take, you're going to have to change your diet. You're going to have to change your nutrition, and you're going to have to get up and move.
Yeah.
So we have tons of diets, and trust me, I've been on some of them. And what happens is you gain it back, So it's like, fuel your body. It's, we always say, like, food is medicine. It's just a matter of what type of food you give yourself that's going to make things effective. So to me, fad diets,
I
they're
agree.
overrated.
Yeah. For me, it would be weighted vests.
Yeah. See, I have some girlfriends that are on this weighted vest kick, and I'm like, are we going to have a weighted vest crew? But
I've been meaning to do a video on the research on weighted vests, but the secret is they do not promote more weight loss. They do not make you stronger. In theory, they may put more stress on your low back and joints, which is not a good
yeah,
thing. But yeah, I see them too. And
yeah. I don't have one.
I don't
I'm
have one
I'm
either.
good. Put me on the treadmill, on an incline, put me on a bike. Those are the
Yeah,
two things I do. Every now and then I do stepper, but I have a bad knee, so
yeah,
incline treadmill is the greatest, best thing for getting those legs in shape.
yeah. You don't need no
So
vest. The research
yeah, I
shows
know.
that they're a dud. They're a dud for about
Yeah,
99% of people.
but it's
Uh,
it's fads. People buy into this stuff, and
I know,
you
I
know,
know.
it's
Marketing is powerful.
yep, it really is.
You mentioned that you have worked with people who are taking weight loss drugs, GLP meds like Ozempic, Wegovy, all those.
Yeah.
Have you run into any problems with people who are exercising while taking these medications? Because this is something that is very popular. This is another, I wouldn't even say it's a trend, but the gym industry has embraced this. There are some big gym brands that literally will get you on this prescription and hook you up with a personal trainer. And I think to myself, are personal trainers prepared for working out with people who are taking medications that may cause drops in blood sugar and maybe even dehydration?
I had one client who kept complaining of stomach issues and problems. And I remember us working out one time, we were doing abs, and she's like, Jill, it hurts. And I was like, what's going on here? What are you doing? She was like, well, I haven't told you, but I'm taking the shot. And I'm crystal clear. I am a very transparent person, and I express myself, and never to hurt you, but just to be honest. Like, I can beat around the bush and tell you this, but my, thing is, I don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's not my body, it's yours. However, I think you can do this without taking it, and I think you need to go get checked. Now, it was causing an issue with her stomach, and that was, I believe, that was one of the side effects. And she got off of it, and it was great. And but I had another client who dropped weight and did phenomenal on it. But the thing is, she changed her diet, and she was at the gym with me at least 4 days. You know, and she's been off of it. She hasn't really worked out, but she's kind of maintained. But the thing is, she's maintained her nutrition, you know? So, but that's the only really negative thing that I've had with one of my clients is just her having some stomach issues. I haven't really had anybody where it was like they're dehydrated or, things were happening, but it was just when we were doing some movements in the gym, I noticed that she was in pain and I was like, what's going on? And she told me. And I was like, I really think you should get checked out. Maybe you should, not do this. And she ended up coming off it because it was that. And she didn't want to, subject her body to whatever damage it may do or may do long term. So,
I've heard of people forgetting to drink liquids while on this compound and getting dehydrated during exercise. Again, same thing with blood sugar dropping as you're not
mhm.
eating, you forget to eat. I wonder if the abdominal pains you're mentioned was gastroparesis, which is your stomach basically stops working,
Yep.
and you're not moving the food through the stomach as well as you
Yeah.
normally
It
would.
was.
Do you think there's a trend that is underrated in the fitness business?
I'm not a burpee fan. I think they're useless. Like, I don't know. People could get on here and argue me the 100 thing, but I just don't see the value of a burpee besides killing
Right.
my joints and jumping up. But I still think diet and exercise still work.
I would agree. It's not a trend, obvious. Unfortunately,
Right
it's not a
now,
trend,
yeah.
but
So I don't. I
you
mean, I don't know if there's anything I really think that's. I mean, I would say maybe the treadmill is underrated. Walking on an incline, at a medium speed, 2.5 with no hands on, is get up to a 15 eventually. So you don't have to be a sprinter. You don't have to be a jogger. Just move. Just move. 30
just
minutes a day. It's
simple
better than
answer.
nothing.
Yeah, simple answer, correct answer usually.
Yeah. Right.
Um, what's on your to-do list to further spread awareness about Ladies of MaxFit?
My goal is, and I'm working on my webpage, but the Ladies of Maxfit is a nonprofit, 501c. So my long-term goal is not to just incorporate fitness, but also mental health for young women, teenagers. My goal is to get out in the community and get sponsorships so that young women, older women, the mature adult, the elderly can attend the gym, can be trained, can have fitness at a reduced rate or no rate at all for those, really just to kind of start fitness to get girls into fitness at a young age, but and also work with people with Alzheimer's or some type of disability, whatever it may be, so that their lifestyle continues and they're not, well, I can't do this anymore because I have this. I can't do this because I have, this going on in my life. Like I don't want that to stop people from continuing living their daily activities that they may have lived before. But, overall is to really get out in the community, really get some mental health things going, but also empower women, also teach women, about whether it's menopause, whether it's a single young girl who wants to go back to school, like not just about fitness, but also, really discuss that, fitness is a part of your life. It's longevity. It helps you live longer. Nutrition, talk about that, but also expand, that the Ladies of Max Fit is not just about fitness. It's about helping women grow, empower, be successful in whatever their journey might be. Maybe there's some young girl who can't afford to go back to school and we can provide funding, or maybe there's a mother who's struggling with menopause and needs a group, or lost a loved one and needs a group of women to talk to, so it's really, I really want to build the community up to just kind of like a women's support center, a women's information center where we help women of all different ages, fitness obviously being a big part of it, but just really help them goal focused, I was a young mother. I was a mother at 18, and thank God I had a wonderful mother who supported me, but it wasn't easy. There were some things that I gave up. But, my kids empowered me. It's, as I got older and, unfortunately I got divorced after 20 years of being married, but like life doesn't stop there. And if I would have had these resources or people to talk to, I may have accomplished some of these things early in life than more pursuing them now. So it's really just the Ladies of Maxfit, just an open book of services that we want to provide. And I have a group of strong women behind me that like are ready to kind of filter in here: mental health practitioners, cancer screening, education, loan people, financial aid people. Like I have all these people that I work with, and I'm building it. I'm doing it all by myself, but I'm trying to build this. But that is my ultimate goal, is really just Ladies of Maxfit, just to be like a book of resources for women.
I think it's fantastic. Jill, how can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
So my website hopefully will be up. Yeah, this, but it'll be the Ladies of Maxfit .org. We have an Instagram page, the Ladies of Maxfit. I have a Facebook fitness page, the Ladies of Maxfit, and I have a Facebook group, which is the Ladies of Maxfit. We're on TikTok, the Ladies of Maxfit. I can be reached. I have my email, which is ladiesofmaxfit@gmail.com. Maxfit is MAXXFIT. Right now I'm training at the Steve Everett Gym in Maple Lawn in Fulton, at the Roger Carter Center. You can reach me by email, our website, which hopefully will be up in the next week or so. But I'm keeping moving. I'm trying to do it all by myself.
I understand. You're a solo.
I am. Yes, absolutely.
I'll link to all that in the show notes below so everybody can check you
Appreciate
out.
it.
But Jill, this has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for spending time and helping spread awareness about health and fitness. And yeah, been a great time.
No, I appreciate it. And I don't know if I told you this, but you were the one that I went and got my certification through. You were my
Me?
class.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
gee whiz.
So, yeah.
Wow. I'm very
So
happy.
thank you for that.
No,
Yeah.
no, thank you. That's
And here we
terrific.
are talking again 8 years later.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had more hair and less gray hair back
Right.
then.
You and I both. So we're
Yeah,
still here.
we are. It's very good,
Yeah.
Jill. This has been
But
great.
thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. And, hopefully we talk again and we're up and rocking and rolling and really digging in and helping some women out.
Cool beans. Looking forward to it.